This is Megan, and welcome to Stories in the Woods. Today's forest fact comes from Willa.
Worms have no eyes and ears.
You know, worms are very impressive creatures, and despite not having eyes or ears, they have a big impact on our gardens. Sometimes I think worms are a little like tiny underground superheroes. They work hard digging tunnels, they help everybody, they wear tiny capes that say superworm. Actually, that last part isn't true. But, you know, even superheroes need help sometimes. The tricky part is knowing when to ask for it. Actually, that reminds me of a story. Okay, all you humans and forest dwellers, here we go. Rita was an excellent digger, which wasn't entirely unusual except for one tiny thing. Rita had no eyes. She was an earthworm living in the cool, moist soil of a lovely backyard garden. And while she lived with many family members, she was one of the best and most sought-out tunnel diggers in the garden. Hey Rita, I've got a tough spot, pretty hard soil, and I could use your help. Rita, darling, you know I would dig this tunnel on my own, but I just had my antennas cleaned, and I would hate to get them dirty. Rita, I really use your help.
By tomorrow.
The garden critters were particularly abuzz, as the annual summer festival was just around the corner. Ladybugs were hanging up decorations, the grasshopper band had been practicing for weeks, and the bees had been busy making delicious sweet snacks dripping in honey. And Rita? Well, Rita dug tunnels. A tunnel to the music stage, a tunnel to a large storage room for all the celebration snacks, a tunnel to nowhere, because the mole in charge was also blind and could not read the map drawn on the page she was squinting at. Rita was beginning to feel tired, and her stomach was uncomfortably full from munching up all that soil. But did Rita speak up? No, because Rita had a problem. Rita worried that if she said no, perhaps, just maybe, the other worms and bugs in the garden would be upset with her. Maybe they wouldn't be her friend, or she might even hurt their feelings. If she said no, was that being unkind? So Rita kept digging tunnels, but she was starting to get confused. This morning, she had dug right into an ant colony, and while she couldn't see all the eyes looking at her, she certainly could feel them and the quiet hush that had fallen over the typically industrial insects. Rita could feel her worm cheeks grow warm with embarrassment, and she made some mumbled apologies before slowly inching her way back out. Later the same day, she had tunneled for an hour straight, only to sense something strangely familiar, and to come back around full circle to where she had started. Rita was beginning to get frustrated. She wriggled her way up to the surface and could feel the heat of the sun overhead. Rita! It was the planner-in-chief, Martha Mole. We need you over in the picnic area. The mole crickets have created an absolute mess and dug up all the lawn instead of digging down into the soil. Oh, this simply won't do, and a mere few days away from the festival. Rita felt a word pop into her mouth, a short, two-lettered word that she desperately wanted to say, but instead she nodded her head and headed over to a large clearing where flat rocks had been set up as little tables and, in theory, tunnels were supposed to lead to each spot, allowing creatures to stay underground until popping up for a sweet treat. Rita could feel the clumps of dirt and grass as she stretched and pulled herself across the ground. Oh dear, this was going to take a lot of repair and work. The sun was at its highest, and Rita paused, uncertain. One thing you might not know about worms is that they must be very careful with their delicate skin. Too much time in the sun could dry a worm out and, well, let's just say it's not good news. Rita tilted her head to the side. She could sense flickering shadows, likely a large plant casting shade. A rest would be so lovely, she thought. But then she imagined Martha Mole tapping her foot impatiently, and it felt like a stone had fallen into her stomach. She couldn't let everyone down. The dirt was dry and crumbly. The grass roots were tangled. Worst of all, the mole crickets had decided that digging a tunnel meant throwing soil absolutely everywhere and hoping for the best. Rita spent the next hour repairing their work, then another hour, then another. And by the time she finished, she felt as limp as an overcooked noodle. The sun had silently sunk towards the horizon, and Rita wearily inched her way to the mud pools. She was barely able to drag her dry, cracked body into the refreshing muck, but she let out a satisfied sigh as she felt her sore body sink into the muddy pools. She let out another long sigh. The relief of the moist mud was so satisfying she couldn't help it. "Tough day." A voice in the dark startled Rita, and she lifted her head out of the mud. She realized it was her cousin Annie. She nodded. She felt Annie slide into the mud next to her. "Rita, we've known each other since we were hatchlings knee-high to a sunflower seed. You never say no." Rita spoke for the first time all day. "I did want to say no today, and I didn't." "Why not?" Rita thought about Martha Mole, the festival plans, the tunnels, the expectations. "I suppose I was worried everyone would be disappointed." "Were you disappointed?" Rita paused. She had spent so much time worrying about everyone else's feelings that she had never thought to ask herself that question. Looking down at her cracked skin and aching body, she knew the answer immediately. "Yes," she said softly. Her cousin nodded. "Maybe that's a feeling worth paying attention to." Annie left her cousin with those wise worm words, and Rita sat in the mud pools thinking about them for a long time. The next day was the day before the festival. It was the busiest day of preparation, as everything came together, or didn't, and all the last-minute to-dos were checked off Martha's long, long list. "Good morning, Rita!" Martha blustered over to the young earthworm. She was waving her clipboard around so enthusiastically, Rita could feel wafts of air puffing off her newly moisturized skin. "Rita, there is so much for you. Us to do today. The spiders have woven webs over several of the tunnels, and a bunch of kid squirrels rolled acorns into the tunnel leading up to the stage. It's completely blocked up." Rita was about to nod and go on her way when she felt something strange. That little 2-letter word was back. It popped into her mouth like a hiccup. No. Not a rude no, not an angry no, just a truthful no. She took a breath, and she let the word pop out. "No." It felt like time froze. Martha's eyes widened slowly, her mouth dropped open and then closed again. The noises all around of busy bugs ceased into silence as all eyes turned to Rita and Martha. "Oh," was all Martha said, and then more thoughtfully, "Oh." "I feel," Rita said nervously, "I feel overwhelmed when you ask me to do so many things. I would like to have some help, please." Rita waited. She waited for Martha to yell at her. She waited for all the bugs to start chattering about her behind her back. Instead, Martha threw her arms around Rita in a tight hug. "Oh, Rita," she wailed. "Of course, we will absolutely, definitely, positively find you help. I didn't mean to overwhelm you. You just do everything with a smile, so I thought you were fine." Rita grinned. "Martha, I do love helping you and everyone. I've just realized that sometimes I'm saying yes too much, even if I don't want to do it." Martha was still clinging to Rita's neck, but she let go to clap her paws together. Everyone, gather round. She waved all the bugs and animals in the area over, and they all gathered to hear what the planner-in-chief had to say. It's come to my attention that we need to reorganize some of our tasks for today. Martha glanced down at her clipboard. Let's see, Rita, I have you down for... Martha trailed off to squint and count and cleared her throat sheepishly. Well, I suppose I have you down for 25 tasks. That can't be right. Well, never mind. Let's get it sorted, shall we? Some of the animals gathered snickered. Let's see. Martha looked up and examined the crowd. Spiders, you'll have to go and clear the webs. But we made them, one of the spiders said indignantly. Exactly. Martha wagged her paw at them. No eating any of the guests. The spiders shrugged. That's fair. Yeah, fair point. They were going to eat us? And you squirrels. Martha turned her stern gaze on a group of young squirrels trying to hide behind their parents' bushy tails. We'll work together with your families to clear those tunnels. The parents nodded and the young squirrels groaned. As for judging the sunflower contest, Martha frowned. Rita laughed. Martha, I'm a worm. I don't even have eyes. Soon everyone was laughing, great big belly laughs, even Martha, who had tears streaming down her face. I know, yes, it's so absurd now that you say it out loud. Of course a worm can't judge the sunflower contest. It was decided that the grasshopper musicians, who were of refined artistic sensibilities, would judge the sunflowers. Well, that's that then, Martha declared. She clapped her paws together. Everyone to your stations! The crowd dispersed as animals and bugs scurried away to fulfill their new to-do lists. The festival wasn't falling apart. Nobody was angry. In fact, everyone seemed happier now that they understood how she felt. Many patted Rita on the back as they went, thanking her, complimenting her on her hard work, and her cousin gave her a tail high five. Rita, that was amazing, she said in awe. You were so brave. Rita blushed, but she was very proud. For the rest of the day, Rita helped repair tunnels, took breaks when she needed them, and spent a pleasant hour relaxing beneath a shady leaf chatting with her fellow volunteers. And every time someone asked her to do something, she remembered that she had a choice. Sometimes the answer was yes. Sometimes the answer was no. From then on, Rita remembered that being helpful didn't mean saying yes to everything. It meant making thoughtful choices and being honest about what she needed. As the sun set, she looked around at everything that had been accomplished that day. Together, the volunteers had achieved so much, and for the first time in a long time, Rita felt excited, full of wriggly anticipation for the summer festival. Wow, I am so glad that Rita was able to find her voice and let her friends know how she was feeling and what she needed. You know, it can be scary to speak up and ask for help, tell people what we need, or even say no sometimes. But the truth is, people can't read minds. I know. How cool would that be? You could think, I'd really like a cookie right now, and someone would appear with a plate of cookies. But we're not superheroes, and the people around us can't always tell what's going on inside our hearts and our brains. And that's why using our words is so important. When we say, I feel happy, I feel worried, I feel frustrated, or I feel excited, it helps other people understand us better. And just like Rita learned, you can be kind, caring, and still speak up for yourself. One way you can do that is by using I feel statements. Here's an example. I feel frustrated when my little brother grabs my toys because I'm still using them. I would like him to ask first. Or, I feel overwhelmed when I have too many chores at once because I'm not sure where to start. I would like some help to make a plan. Can you think of one of your own? Using I feel statements can help other people understand what's going on inside your heart and your brain. And sometimes, just like Rita discovered, speaking up is the first step to getting the help that you need. Stories in the Woods are original stories by me, Megan Schmitz. Thank you to Willa for today's forest fact. If you would like to send me an interesting fact about a forest plant or animal, you can email me at storiesinthewoodspodcast@gmail.com. storiesinthewoodspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for joining me. I can't wait to meet again for another story in the woods.